Deep Shot Podcast, Season 4, Episode 18? Is this the Jake Johnson episode?
Yeah, why not? Why not the Jake Johnson episode? Sure. Peyton Manning. There's not a
Kyle
Garrett
Orton.
Nussmeier. Garrett
Didn't y'all have a
18.
corner? Didn't DeAndre Baker wear 18?
DeAndre Baker did wear 18. That is true.
All right. I've always thought 8 was like an ugly looking number. I've never been a big fan of 8. I don't know. Maybe it's a double zero. It's really the double zero if you think about it. And then they have the double zero, but then they just, the 8.
Stacking on top of each other. The snowman, basically.
Welcome to another episode of the Deep Shot Podcast. We have week 7 of the college football season halfway through after this week, and week 6 of the NFL. Some really exciting games this weekend. Probably the best. I mean, there's not like a ton of ranked on ranked. There's a couple, but I think like in terms of the conference play matchups that we're getting this week, it's really exciting. We're really in the thick of the season right now. I mean, you're not seeing any more like a group of 5 game.
And also to kick it off, what do we have, like 50-something straight days of football? What's the exact number?
49 straight days at starting tonight. Football. So we are here. Football season is in full swing right now. Before we get into that, just want to give a quick update on the shirts. We had a little mishap, but they should be done by Friday. Next week, you will have your Deep Shot merch. I'm almost guaranteeing it right now. So as long as everything goes well, I appreciate everybody's patience. We had a lot of orders. A lot of people have spent money on us. So we're really appreciative of that. We've had a lot of great viewership. We've been posting the clips on YouTube. So we really appreciate everybody that's listening. Means a lot. Remember, Deep Shot Party, November 22nd. All right, let's get into it. Let's start in Columbia, Missouri. This is a big-time game. I know it's maybe before the season, not a lot of people were thinking Bama, Missouri was going to be a big game, but spread is Bama minus 2.5. Over-under is sitting at 51.5. Like I said, Missouri is quietly undefeated, 5-0. Fourth best offense in the country right now. If you look at their defense, they're like top 10 in almost pretty much every stat category. On offense and defense. They're the best third down team in the country on offense, 61% conversion rate. They have a really good running back. We've talked about it in Ahmad Hardy. I think Bo Pribula is a really good second option as a running back or as a running quarterback. We saw last week that Vanderbilt wanted to use Diego Pavia a lot in the run game. I think Bo Pribula might be a little bit better at that. For Bama's side, can they keep it going, especially on the run offense? Jam Miller finally had a big game. We talked about it was the first time a running back had over 100 yards for Bama in like 2 years. They passed the test last week. Can they do it now? Missouri's second best in the country at rush defense. So, and then Ty Simpson, I think this is a game he can separate himself from that, all that Heisman talk. Been vocal. I think we need to see what he looks like when he gets pressure on him. Missouri has 12 sacks this year, a little over 2 a game. So I think we'll see those situations and how he responds. Before I pass it off to you guys, when's the last time Missouri won a game versus a top 10 team?
Was it against Georgia in Athens?
It was Florida 2017. I don't know if you remember that game or not, Caleb. Can Missouri get it done? This is a team that hasn't, we've seen them look bad against the really good competition of last year. Or have they taken that step? I haven't beaten Bama since they got into the SEC. They've only beaten Bama, I think, once or twice. Last time they beat them was 1975. So Alabama's won every game in this series since they joined the SEC by 19 or more.
Wow. Every single one of them? That's crazy. Because it's not like Missouri's ever like been terrible, right? I mean, they've never like been like top of the line, but dang, that's a pretty staggering statistic. I think this should be a heck of a ball game. I really do. I think this should be a hell of a game. Bo Pribula, side note, don't you think that Penn State wishes Bo Pribula was still at Penn State? I guarantee you they do. I guarantee it because the guys looked really dang good. You talked about Ahmad Hardy, but I want to talk about, and you briefly mentioned it, but Missouri's pass rush. Looking at Alabama, not a single team since the Florida State game has really been able to affect Ty Simpson. And yes, that does include my Georgia Bulldogs. We didn't pressure him for nothing. We had like 1.5 sacks in that game, if even. This is the Missouri team that's going to be able to get after the quarterback, and they're going to be able to make him make quick decisions. Hey, the guy has 13 touchdowns, 1 interception this season, 1 interception. How do you generate turnovers? How do you generate bad decisions? Getting the teams into 3rd and longs, pressuring the quarterback, making him make decisions in a split second. I think that Eli Drinkowicz has put together a very good team. He better win on Saturday because there's an easy way you can little Eli Drinkovich. But I think Missouri has a really solid squad. They have a really good offense. They have a really good defense. This is a team that I think has the possibility to, town with their fans, with them up on the rocks on the hill, and be able to pull out a win. I don't think that is out of the realm of possibility. This was one of my ideas for my deep shot. I'm just going to say it right now. I really considered taking Missouri money line. I just don't think the odds. Yeah, plus 140. I knew that Caleb was going to come at me if I took a plus 100 range team again, so I held off. But I really do like Missouri in this game. I really like them plus 3.5 at home. But I think they're a good squad. I obviously think Alabama is too. But if their offense is on schedule with how they've been and they're able to affect Ty Simpson and affect quarterback, I think they could do it. Why not?
So you're talking about the money line situation and the deep shot. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I pride myself on taking some pretty deep shots. The schedule doesn't provide many opportunities for those kind of picks this week. So, if there's something under plus 200, I will probably give you a pass this week. Back to the Bama game.
Lost your fastball, Caleb.
Back to the Bama game. I think that Bama stat that you pointed out at the very beginning, talking about 19 or more every game, that will end for sure this week. This game will be closer than that margin, no doubt about it. If there was a prop bet for it, take it. Free money. The game's going to come down to what Bama's defense does against Ahmad Hardy, who I think is confidently you could say he's the best running back in the country right now in terms of production.
Him or Justice Haynes for sure.
Yeah.
And so, with that in mind, they're going to be able to run the ball. And Garrison talked about how Prabula can also add to the run game and then being able to cover. I'm talking about Bama covering Missouri's receivers. I don't think that'll be any issue. If there's any secondary in the country that I have confidence in, I would name Bama or Miami. So I think they're not going to have any trouble with that. They stop the run game, get off the field on third down, and if they protect Ty Simpson, he's going to spin the rock. He's spinning it better just about anybody in the country.
Yeah, I think when you talked about the stat I mentioned, the 19 or more, I think that I totally agree. I think that ends, but I think I'm going to have to lean Alabama to win that game just because of things like that, and we haven't seen – Missouri's going to have to prove it. I think they can. I'm not saying I'd be that shocked. I think Missouri's a good team, but we're gonna have to see to believe it. Before we move on from this one, saw a stat from Andrew Bone today on Twitter. The number of top 20 teams. So this is out of the top 20 teams who have to play more top 20 teams currently for the rest of the season. So basically, what's the schedule look like for everybody? No, Bama and Missouri both have to play 4 more games against the current top 20. This season. LSU also has 2 as well. Vandy and Tennessee have to play 3. Ohio State, A&M, Ole Miss, and UGA have to play 2. Miami and Virginia and Notre Dame have to play none. Just a stat I want to throw out there, just for people who don't get it sometimes. Jonathan Katzinger will like that if he's listening. Let's move on.
I bet, was it South Carolina? I know we're not talking about them on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, they're higher up.
They're up. God almighty. Their schedule makes Florida's look like a walk in the park, honestly.
Because it is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about a Big Ten game here. Indiana going to Oregon. Oregon is minus 7.5, over under at 55.5. CBS game. They got a good one here, maybe. They got a good one last week, unexpectedly.
Yeah.
They got a good one here, I think. When you look at these teams, you compare both these teams. They're kind of similar. All right. Both teams have top 10 offenses. Both teams have top 10 defenses. 2 of the best quarterbacks in college football. They're both at the top of, Heisman odds, if you look at what Vegas is saying. 2 of the biggest shit-talking head coaches in college football, Dan Lanning and Kirk Cincinnati, they love to just run their mouth. I think the big test is here. Let's find out what those games, those big wins that both teams have, Indiana being the one over Illinois where they smoked them and ran them out of the building, and the one that Oregon had against Penn State, which, kind of stepped back now for a second. We'll see what happens. So I think overall, Oregon's probably going to have a little more talent to win this game. The spread's 7.5. I want to say Indiana can keep it within 2 touchdowns, maybe lose by 10. I think 7.5, that might be a late pull away situation. But Indiana, they haven't won against a top 10 team on the road since 1987. Against Ohio State. They beat Illinois, who was a top 10 team, beat them at home this season. But they haven't won on the road against a top 10 team in a long, long time. So, are they a different team from last year who, got smoked anytime they played a good team? That's what we're going to find out. I'm not sure if they're going to be good enough to win this game, so I'm going to take Oregon.
Man, this guy Garrison wasn't kidding when he said he came prepared. I mean, goodness gracious, that's back to back. We had a 1975 stat in the first game and then a 1980 stat in this one. Shoot, man. I think Indiana should be. I wouldn't be shocked. This is one of my picks. I will say so. I'm going to try and not give myself away too much right here, but I think Indiana's got a squad. I think Fernando Mendoza is hell of a quarterback, man. Look at these stats: 16 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1,200 yards. I mean, Dante Moore on the other side is no slouch, 14 tuds and a pick. But what I'm looking at Oregon, and I do think they are a talented bunch, I cannot help but think about that Penn State game, because Penn State had that fourth quarter comeback to send it to OT. But even before that, it was 17-3. And let's not try and act like a 17-3 is some blowout. They were controlling them on offense, but Oregon's offense themselves didn't look anything spectacular. So that is the biggest thing for me, the biggest, light bulb moment of like, is this team the Oregon of the past that we've been, putting them up to be? So we'll find out on Saturday. I think this is going to be a really good game as well. I'm excited for this one. 3:30, CBS, going to be a good one. I don't know. I think Indiana showed me something, that day where they took it to Illinois, because, we've seen Illinois respond since then. I don't think Illinois is, a garbage program or just like, terribly ranked. And Indiana absolutely brought it to them.
So do you think Indiana's going to win the game?
This is one of my picks, so I don't want to put myself too far ahead. I mean, if you have any bit of context clues, you can probably see where I'm leaning in this.
Okay. I think Oregon's going to win the game. Let me first say that I'm with Jake on doubting the win against Penn State. Just obviously anybody with a football brain or mind is going to understand that that's going to dim the strength of their record. I think both teams are going to have, the coaches are going to have those guys ready to play. I think if there's two coaches in America that you'd probably trust more, not many out there compared to Dan Lanning and Curt Cignetti. Right. So, Indiana's going to have to do something. This is the main key I got for them for this game in order to maybe have a chance to win. If they can go in there and run the ball against that talent, which that's the only way to me that they can get by on the road. And traveling out west, you can say whatever you want to, but the travel situation is an issue for teams to acclimate to. Like, it's not going to be as bad as for Penn State to try and travel out there, but Indiana to Oregon, Eugene is going to be, pretty extensive travel mounting against the team in terms of their preparation and being able to be off your sleep. I mean, it makes a big difference. And Oregon's not an easy place to play either.
2 5-0 teams, and 2-0, both 2-0 in the Big Ten. This one's definitely in the driver's seat going forward. Let's talk about Georgia going to Auburn Saturday night, 7:30. Auburn is a 3.5-point underdog right now. Over-unders at 46.5. I'd like to come ready with stats. If you can't tell, neither team really has outstanding stats in this game. Both of the offenses and defenses are in the mid category, some a little higher than others in certain things. But I think when I'm looking at this game as a Georgia fan, obviously last week we got a big blow, a game that we pretty much controlled the whole time against Kentucky. This one's going to be on the road. I would love to get another one of those. I'm not sure that's going to be how it goes. I think Georgia needs to control the line of scrimmage a lot. I think the offensive line the past couple of weeks has really, shown a lot of improvement. The defensive line has shown a lot of not improvement, or, whatever a good word is there that I can't think of. We got to get pressure on Jackson Arnold. He is not scared to tuck in and run. He's the only quarterback this year in the SEC that hasn't thrown a pick, probably because he just doesn't throw it. If Cam Coleman's not open, he's just running. He loves to do that. And if we can't get some pressure on him, he'll run for 150, 200 yards. Cam Coleman's a threat. They can basically just throw it to him, and they'll probably get a PI call, or he'll make a crazy catch, especially the way our DBs have been looking. I want to see how Gunner's going to do. We've seen quarterbacks like Sawyer Robertson and John Mateer do good against Auburn, but both of them were at home. This one's on the road for Gunner. He did have the one in Tennessee, so he's grown up a little bit. I want to see Bowens and Branch become more of the focal point of the offense. They've been great this year, and I want to see us have our own little Cam Coleman with Noah Thomas or Colby Young. Throw it deep, take some shots. I'm really excited to see it. So going forward, I think Georgia is going to be able to win this game, but I'm not too sure about the 3.5 there, to be honest. I think Auburn's going to keep this game very close. I'm worried about how our defense will respond, but I would really love a blowout. And just to kind of calm the nerves, but I'm not sure that'll happen.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting a blowout in this one. I'd love to see it, but man, 7:30, October kickoff in Jordan-Hare Stadium, anything can happen. Anything can happen. I mean, Jordan-Hare scares me more than just about any other stadium in the country. The amount of heartbreak that we've seen happen there. I mean, never forget the prayer at Jordan-Hare that gets tipped up and caught. That was it was brutal. We've had a lot of heartbreak in Jordan-Hare, and this one scares me because obviously looking at it on paper, Georgia's the better team in this matchup, and there are X's and O's that we should be able to exploit. But I just look at the two games that Auburn has lost is at Oklahoma by a touchdown, and I genuinely think, looking back, I mean, I think they should have had that kicks, the scoop and score, and then they had that touchdown on third down that was an illegal play. There's two scores right there. Auburn could have won that game. And then I look at their game against Texas A&M. They lost by 6. I mean, we're talking about two really good teams in Oklahoma and Texas A&M that came down to the wire like one possession games. Auburn's coming off of a bye. They're going to be rested. They've had opportunities to look at Georgia a little bit deeper than we have because we were having to focus on Kentucky last week. So I'm not doubting the Dogs. I'm not doubting Kirby. I'm not doubting Gunner. I still think we'd be able to go into Auburn and be able to come out with a win. But this is going to be a 4-quarter game. That is something I can guarantee you today on this podcast is when we're going to the fourth quarter, it's still going to be ball time. It's still going to be game time. It's not going to be like the Kentucky game. It's probably going to be a lot closer to that Alabama and that Tennessee game. It's going to be tight, and we're going to have to make plays down the stretch. We're going to look at Gunner Stockton. Gunner Stockton's going to have to make a throw here and there in the fourth quarter to ice this game. And it's going to come down to that. So we'll see. This should be, I know I'm biased, but like the 3 games we looked at, I think all 3 of them are certified Hood Classic bangers. This is the one I'm looking at the most. Obviously, I'm a Georgia fan, but I think this should be a great matchup. I think it should be good.
This game is a answer the question game for Georgia to me in terms of the 2 things that I think are a problem for their team. Can Georgia rush a passer and get after Jackson Arnold just like all the other teams have this year? Because it's something that their team has been diminished by this year, not getting sacks. I mean, we've talked about the stat where their numbers in terms of where they rank nationally in that stat category is lower than Georgia fans have seen in years. And this is an opportunity for them to get back a little bit and maybe build some momentum going into the next couple of games in the SEC for them. Getting healthy at tackle, I think I saw a report today that Ugai might be coming back for this game. At least he's practicing this week. So maybe able to get in there and run the football on Auburn just like Texas A&M did last week. I think they went for over 200. I'm sure Georgia's going to try and do that. And if Gunner Stockton can go in there and throw the ball well and not be impacted too much by the atmosphere and the pressures going on that are just caused by the stadium itself, which, yes, that place is the pit. Seasons go to die in Jordan-Hare. At least somebody's does every season. We'll see if, like I said, if Gunner Stockton can stay alive, though, and, get through his zone read progressions a little bit better. I've seen so many people talk about how he has struggled over the weeks, just reading zone coverage and diagnosing where he needs to go with the ball. We've got to see some progression there in that category for Georgia to even have a chance to, be as good of a team as people thought they would be coming into the year.
It's a big game. I mean, Gunners can really separate himself too and kind of silence a lot of people. I don't think he's been bad at all this year. There's a lot of people I see out there that, I get there's reads and things like that, I went into. I don't look past all that. I can't tell you, if he didn't make the right decision all the time, but he hasn't lost us a game since he's became the quarterback. I know that. So yeah, Georgia hasn't lost to Auburn since 2017, the year Georgia won national championship and won the SEC for the first time under Kirby. They went to Jordan-Hare, got rocked, and then redeemed themselves later on. Some other ones I want to bring up. Caleb, Florida Gators heading to A&M. A&M's wearing some throwback jerseys. Did you guys see those?
I have not seen those.
They're hideous, and I just want to go ahead and get it taped out there that Texas A&M does not know how to do the jersey game. Do you guys remember their basketball ones they wore this past season that were like just bland AF? I don't know what the design people have at A&M that just is like, let's just be as ugly and bland as possible with our uniforms.
Yeah, these are terrible. It's like they tried to do the Michigan like Wolverine thing.
Are you looking at the football ones? Look at the basketball jerseys that they came out with last year real quick. Just look at them. Look it up. Like Texas A&M, 2025 basketball jersey, new, ugly.
That looks like a practice uniform.
Yeah, exactly.
That looks like a practice uniform.
Okay. But Caleb, I'll give you a stat right here for this game. Texas A&M has the 5th best third down defense. Florida has the 114th ranked third down offense.
Who shall prevail?
what's going to happen there?
I think the key to this game for Florida to be able to be successful in offense is hand Jaden Ball the ball early on first and second down and be able to be productive on first. And we cannot get penalties because of the crowd noise. That's going to be the whole key to success. I think the defense is good enough to play with anybody at this point. That's my confidence level with them. I understand we did just play Texas and give up a couple points to them. Cool, whatever. We've also seen Miami, LSU. We've seen good teams. And we're also getting a little healthier, okay, because we were actually down a bunch of guys last week to be able to play like that against Texas. But, yeah, I think if you stay on schedule, I think if DJ Lagway does not turn the ball over, obviously we got to continue to avoid that. We'll see how the defense plays. I honestly am scared of Marcel Reed and a mobile quarterback. That terrifies, I think, any defense because you can say whatever you want to about structure and whatever coverage you're going to play. Duke could just scramble and bust all of that. And they do have two really good wideouts, and they're also at home at night. So it's going to be daunting. But Florida, if they can play as good as they did last week and have that formula to win every game, I'd like our chances against anybody at that point, especially A&M because they haven't really proven themselves to anybody other than, Notre Dame.
Dude, it's insane. The SEC's got Florida and A&M, Georgia and Auburn, and South Carolina LSU all playing at night. Godly, that's awesome. Okay, talk about Big Ten game for a second. Ohio State, Illinois. This one, the spread, I think, is 15.5, 16.5. Ohio State obviously favored. Illinois has not beaten Ohio State since 2007. They have this game at home, but I think it's really hard to see them competing after that Indiana game. And it's hard for, you think about like teams that are sleeping, like, everybody was saying that Washington might be something against Ohio State. Well, that wasn't the case. And then, last week it's like, well, will they be sleeping at home against Minnesota? No, I don't think they're going to be sleeping on the road for the big noon kickoff. So, you guys got any thoughts there?
It's not even that far. How can they sleep? They can only nap if they're trying to, get some rest before they go there.
Yeah, it's true. They literally border each other. I think Illinois is a better team than they showed when they played Indiana and lost by 53. Because if you look at after that, the next week the next game they played at home against USC and they won. And then last week going to Purdue, which I know Purdue stinks, but they were able to still put up 43 points on the road and come out with a win. With all that said, there's no reason to sit here and say that they should be able to beat Ohio State. Ohio State, I see it at 14.5 right now, Garrison.
It's moving.
Yeah, it's moving.
What do you think? Unless you have that pick, you think they cover that 14.5?
I do think no, I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
All right. South Carolina LSU, I brought it up a second ago. I just want to talk about this for a second. We've talked about their schedule. They play this game and they play Oklahoma, Bama, Ole Miss, A&M. That's 5 top 11 teams as of now. I'm sure it'll switch up, but at worst, playing 5 top 20 teams in a row. This is a big revenge game factor. Obviously, remember that game last year between these two teams that South Carolina got boned on. Both teams coming off byes. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game? You guys got this picked?
I think this might be the most confusing game of the whole weekend. Hopefully y'all can agree with me here because we're still trying to figure out what LSU is. To this day, we're still trying to figure it out because Clemson, not nearly as good. They won that by 1 score. Florida had 5-6 turnovers in that game. They win by 10 points. So can we really be even impressed with that? And then Louisiana Tech, Southeastern Louisiana, and then they lose to Ole Miss. We have no idea what LSU is. Everybody is telling us that LSU is good, and they're supposed to be able to take care of business at home, 7:45 kick. That's going to be tough for Carolina, but we don't really know yet. And you can look at South Carolina. Do we even really know what South Carolina is either? You can look at the Vandy, the Missouri game. Well, shoot, Lenoris wasn't at 100% for those games. So maybe Carolina's better than what we're thinking, and LSU's worse. We'll see. This is going to be an interesting one. Garrett Nussmeier has really struggled this season. For a guy that we looked at going into this season as, probably one of the most professional ready quarterbacks in the NFL. He's going to be able to run this. People were comparing it to Joe Burrow's second year at LSU was going to kind of mimic that a little bit. I always thought that was a little bit of getting ahead of ourselves, but it was being said. So we will see. I do think that Carolina has a little bad taste in her mouth from this game last year, because it really had a pretty large ripple effect throughout all of college football. If they do not get boned in that game against LSU, Carolina makes the playoff last year. They make the playoff. They're in. South Carolina, we're seeing Lenore Sellers taking snaps in the Cotton Bowl or whatever it is in the college football playoff. So maybe Carolina comes out, ready to go. Plus 9.5. I do not hate that line at all.
the noise level that LSU is going to give South Carolina in terms of the home fans this year is going to be the biggest difference in that. Like, I think South Carolina not playing at home, this is going to be a different level of LSU that they're going to face because they're still in it. And when their fans are in it, it's a night game, Baton Rouge. It is nasty to play their place. You talked about how you don't really know much about what's going on in terms of LSU's team, like what their expectations are. Do we really know what they do have? I know what they have. They have defense. I think they're going to be able to play well on that side of the ball in order to shut Lenore Sellers down. I don't have them in this game, but because of the home field advantage part and the fact that I know that Blake Baker is going to dial up a good game plan to stop Lenore Sellers is going to get them a dub right here. And they're somewhat a desperate team. I think Brian Kelly already has them in that mode in terms of how he's coaching them and rolling them out for games every week.
So you think LSU is going to win?
Yep.
One last game, I just saw it as the ad pop up, so I totally forgot about this. We've had so many games. Oklahoma, Texas. I think Mateer might play. That's to be determined, I guess. I've been seeing all these like memes of like the Asian doctor that did his surgery. I don't know if you guys seen that on Twitter. Like Oklahoma fans are just posting like Jesus memes with this Asian guy that did his surgery because he's God or something. But Texas is favored right now. That'll be interesting. The Red River rivalry. I mean, it's not at all what we thought. You would think coming into the season like this was going to be a top 10 matchup, or even last week if Texas could have got it done. That's an interesting one. Jake, Texas fan, what you got?
Not a Texas fan. Not a fucking Texas fan. What I'm seeing right now is Oklahoma is -1.5. That's the line I'm seeing. It is +105.
Oh, you're right. So you're right. Oh, so that's moved.
Yeah.
That is moved.
Is Mateer playing or something? As that came out?
So I was listening to Josh Pate this morning, and he was saying that the -1.5 line is assuming that Mateer plays. So Mateer is on track to play on Saturday.
Yeah, it started at Oklahoma. It started at Texas -2.5, and now it's at Oklahoma -1. So yeah, okay, interesting.
We'll see.
If Mateer plays, who wins?
If Mateer plays, Oklahoma has no reason to lose this game. They have absolutely no reason to lose this game. They're a better bunch, and I think Mateer really sucks specifically for you, Garrison, with your Mateer Heisman ticket because he was on track and he was looking so good. Oklahoma has no excuse to lose this game. If Mateer does not play, I think Texas should win this game. I think a lot hinges on having QB1 out there.
I don't think that Mateer tick is dead if he comes back this week, though. Like, honestly,
it's not. It's not, dude. It's all kind of banking on it. Dude, is this – hold on. Let me fact check. Is this Arch Manning the leading rusher for Texas?
That would probably be right, honestly.
160 yards, dude.
Yeah, they've got problems up front. Up front.
God, dude, that is crazy.
I couldn't believe the line when it first came out. I don't care if Mateer's playing or not. Do you think that if Texas couldn't run the ball in Florida's defense, you think they're going to be able to in Oklahoma? Oklahoma's probably got the best D-line in the country. I don't know if many people got that word out, but they are super talented up front. Yeah, it's going to be a trouble for them to be able to run on that front too. If you caught the line when it was Oklahoma plus points, good job. Great job in my book.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think Arch Manning is legit. I'm trying to fact check it quick, but I'm pretty sure he's the leading rusher. That's crazy. Okay. Let's talk about the NFL.
He has 160 rushing yards. He is the leading.
It's crazy.
I hope that they don't play Mateer, though, honestly. I don't think they need to rush him.
Get him out.
I mean, I know for your check and for your money and stuff, obviously, yeah, you want him to play, but I really don't think they necessarily need him to beat Texas.
For the pod. All right. Let's talk about the NFL before we get into our guest pickers. Caleb Vega joining us here soon. A couple games. We got the Falcons on Monday night. We'll talk about that in a second. But the Seahawks and Jags are playing this week as well. Jags are 3-0 at home this season. Seahawks 2-0 on the road. Jags are -1.5. Over-unders at 47.5. Jake, what we got?
So the difference between the Texas shit, because I'm not a Texas fan, but I will claim the Jaguars. I'm obviously Falcons sold out, but living in the city of Jacksonville, I will always claim it. The city has been electric since that win on Monday night against the Chiefs. But one thing I will say that kind of worries me a little bit is Trevor Lawrence is still on Wednesday, today, answering questions talking about the slip six that he had on Monday night. We got to move on. And if it is Wednesday, we're still patting ourselves on the back from a win that we had on Monday night, which is an awesome win, then we are 2 steps behind the ball, and a really dang good Seattle team is going to come to town and beat us. So I'm a little nervous for this one. This just seems like a perfect letdown spot for the Jags. But I'll say this, man, regardless, win, lose, draw, whatever, the Jags look damn good. They look really good. Their defense is serious. Trevor has not been playing his best football, But in the fourth quarter, when he had to make plays the other night, he really, really, really came through. BTJ really made some good plays. Travis Hunter is like really looking good. Travis Hunter was the highest rated offensive player for the Jaguars and the highest rated defensive player on Monday night for the Jaguars. Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it, dude. Travis Hunter's going to be that guy. He has some talent. He really does. That catch he made late in the game, unreal.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. There's not many guys in the league that can make plays like that. I think if they keep him healthy for the entire season, he's going to be on the top 100 list like immediately next year. That level of impact on both sides of the ball, like, and it's in crucial plays too. Really good job by the Jaguars to continue, like, first year in, Liam Cohen, get this thing really rolling. And who would have ever thought that the two teams of the AFC South that had 4-1 records would be them and the Colts, dude? What is up with that, huh? Both teams just out of nowhere playing ball.
It's a one-team race, right, Caleb? It's a one-team race.
Yeah,
somebody said that one time.
I expected the Jags to be good this year, but going to San Francisco and beating the Niners and then turning around on primetime beating the Chiefs, that's dang good, man. I don't care who you are. I do not care. I don't care if that's the Baltimore Ravens or I guess they suck now, the Buffalo Bills. I don't care. That's an impressive back-to-back wins. That is impressive.
Yeah. Okay. Talk about the 49ers going to Tampa Bay, another game happening down in Florida. Bucks are minus 2.5, over under at 47.5. The 49ers are number one in the NFL in passing yards per game, with Mac Jones pretty much starting all the games. And Baker Mayfield has 4 fourth-quarter game-winning drives. So I'm not sure what the Brock Purdy, Mac Jones situation is right now. I know Mac Jones looked like he was like dead after playing the Rams last Thursday. He's had some time to recover. But what do we think there, Caleb?
So both of them are actually on the injury report this week. Mac Jones, like you said, did get beat up a little bit last week. He was limping for a majority of the game that I saw. And honestly, they probably would hope that he's the one that's healthy here instead of Brock Purdy. But in terms of home game for Tampa right here, that's always important, getting an out west team to come play down south. Maybe it'll be hot. Don't really, I'm not a weatherman. I'm just here to talk ball. But Baker Mayfield playing like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, I don't think that stops when San Francisco comes to town. I understand Robert Saleh is going to be the guy on the other sideline calling the plays and scheming things up, but I think just the Tampa Bay offense is an unrelenting force. You're not going to stop them. They did it in Mike McDonald last week, and Seattle had a top 10 defense going into that game, so that train's not going to stop rolling.
Right. I think I got San Fran winning this game on the road. And no disrespect to Tampa. I mean, truly, like, if I'll say this, man, if Tampa was not in the NFC South, I'd probably pull for him. Truly.
That's funny. Trey, my buddy Trey said, "Happy birthday, Trey," our social media guy. But
Trey.
He said the same thing the other day. He's like, "I know it's weird, like, you can't be rooting for like teams in the division, but like I kind of like the Bucks."
Yeah. I mean, I do hate the Bucks because like they win the South every single year and like they're the biggest thorn in our side, but I love Baker Mayfield. And Meka Egbuka is fun as hell to watch. Bucky Irving, fun as hell to watch. Mike Evans, I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. They have guys. I think the Baker magic has to come to an end at some point though, right? I mean, they're 4-1, 4 game winning drives. They have been in close games every single week. Even their loss was by a touchdown. And I think the buck stops here. I think that San Fran's defense probably will be able to make a play here and there, and they'll be able to get a little upset on the road. Because San Fran's been playing good ball. Outside of that one game against the Jags, they've looked really solid.
Yeah, 4-1. All right, Sunday night football as well. The Lions are going to the Chiefs. Chiefs are minus 2.5 in this game. Over under at 52.5. Why are Chiefs favored? Is there something Vegas knows? Lions have the best offense in the NFL. It's the first time they're playing since that, I believe it was 2023 season opener. It's kind of like the coming out party for the Lions. Why are Chiefs favorites, guys? You guys taking them to win this game?
Absolutely not.
I ain't gonna take them. I don't think the Chiefs are bad though. I mean, like I think the Lions are like far and away, them and the Bills are like the best teams in the NFL right now. So yeah, I'm gonna be taking the Lions to win this game. I don't care that it's in Arrowhead. And I think Kansas City will be all right, even if they lose this game. They drop to 2-4. I mean, Denver and LA both at 3-2. Even if they win, they're 2 games up, and we're only a third of the way through the season. There's plenty of time to make up 2 games. So there are people, I'm like on ESPN right now, and it's got Jeff Saturday saying, "Are the Chiefs in danger of missing the playoffs?" Brother, they've played 5 games. Like no one is in danger. Like, unless you're like the Saints, no one's in danger of missing the playoffs right now. You can get hot and be fine. We're looking at teams are 4-1 that can miss the playoffs. We know nothing right now. And I think the Chiefs look solid on Monday night against the Jags outside of that pick six that they threw and, a couple plays here and there. They probably could have won that game. One thing I want to talk about is Chris Jones. Did you see the effort from Chris Jones on Trevor Lawrence's walk-off touchdown?
That's why they pay him the big bucks.
Allegedly.
It's bad. That's awful. Get him out. Put Malik Herring in because he would have given some effort right there. He would have. He would have.
Taking plays off in the NFL on crucial plays like that in prime time, you can't have it. You're the highest paid guy at that position. Can't have it.
Who wins? You think Lions win, Kevin?
Yeah, I do. I'm really scared of this bet, though, because I think the refs might get involved somehow or another. That's just my thought of Kansas City at this point. I'm expecting a ref show when they're at home to, Taylor will be there. Maybe, we talked about what she does underneath the stadium before games and stuff last year. I don't want to, rehash what's going on. No, she's a married woman now or about to be. So maybe she's moved on to new things. But I just trust Dan Campbell. We doubted Detroit a little bit. A lot of us thought, and I think we're not alone in thinking that they were probably going to be down this year, and that they are not even close to that. They're punishing. They're still inventive on offense. I think they're going to be able to hang their hat on that and score points on Kansas City because everybody else is doing it.
Monday night, Falcons are playing the Bills. -4.5. I thought about going to this game. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it happen. It's a little expensive. It's Josh Allen, big ticket. Maybe after the game on Monday, we might do a quick recap, depending on times and things. But Falcons are playing the Bills on Monday night. Bills are -4.5. Over-under is at 50.5. Bills are coming off the crushing loss to the Patriots. So that's a little concerning. Week 4 and Week 5 of the 2024 NFL season is the last time the Bills lost back-to-back games. So what is that? We're Week 5, Week 6 now. So this is about the time when they do it. Okay, so that's something good thing about the Falcons. We have the number one pass defense, and the number one.
We got number one defense, baby.
So big test here. Can we do it, Jake?
I think we do. And listen, I'm tired of hiding right here. We match up good against these guys. We match up well against these guys. Buffalo's defense has struggled on stopping the run so far this season. They weren't able to do against New England. Miami was able to run on them, and New Orleans was able to run on them. Also, if you want to look at it, that Baltimore win in Week 1, it's not as impressive today as we're looking back on it. The Jets game, they beat them pretty soundly. Miami, they weren't able to pull away from Miami. New Orleans, they weren't able to pull away from New Orleans, and then they lose to New England. I think the Bills are good, and I give my respects to Josh Allen and James Cook and the terrorist head coach that they have. But I'm going to be damned if I'm going to sit here and act like the Atlanta Falcons have no chance. They have a chance in this game. They have a chance.
You think Falcons have a good win this season?
I would say, to be honest, I would say that Washington wins a good win because even though they didn't have Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota played pretty good in that game. He was able to make plays. I think that Minnesota win, even though J.J. McCarthy was shitting down his leg on primetime television, anytime you go out and you beat a team 22-6 on primetime football, that's a good win. I don't care who you're playing. That's a good win. We need to get A.J. Terrell back. If we get A.J. back, then we really do have a good shot. But, why not? You tell me why not. I know you just said you think they have a chance, but, why not?
This is just total. I'm always going to deflect to, this is the Falcons. Caleb, would you tell us why not?
I just think that the Bills are going to be able to rebound with that alleged terrorist on their sideline you're talking about again this week. And, they say whatever you want to. They're playing at home. The Falcons haven't seen a quarterback that caliber. And I think Josh Allen's going to, if anything, give themselves a wake-up call from that game and say, all right, let's go. I'm sure they're practicing at a different level, and they're going to be ready to rock for a primetime game. Everybody gets up for those. I do think the Bills win this game. It's not my picks, but it was on the short list.
All right. Caleb Vega is going to be joining here just in a second. For that, on Thursday night, as this comes out, the Eagles and Giants are going to play. Do you guys think the Giants stand any chance? Maybe the Eagles, after that game last week, are, a little beat up? Do they think that you think they stand a chance? Just real quick.
Well, it's the NFL. Everyone always stands a chance. But no. But no.
I don't think so, honestly. If Philadelphia, if anything, just like I said with the last game, they're going to get a wake-up call here and be able to come out against a division opponent, not let that get in their way of complete domination, which is what their roster says they should do to the Giants. And, Jackson Dart was able to drop one against the biggest loser in the NFL last week. So, why would they beat Jalen Hurts? They got to get the pass game going. If they keep having these two, divas, that's what they are. Let's call them what they are. I hate, quarterbacks usually not supposed to call receivers that, but I'm not on their team, so I can say it. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are acting like divas. We got to get them the ball so they can be happy and they can go home and, feel good about themselves and see their rating go up on Madden. Whatever their objective is there, I know apparently they're still both getting paid really well. But anywho, get them the ball, take care of business, get you a little rest into the weekend. Let's reset and keep the season going on track.
All right, let's get into our picks for Week 7 and Week 6. We got Caleb Vega, longtime listener, joining the show. How we doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Appreciate the invite. Appreciate it.
We got a little name off going here,
dude. Yeah. Also, Jake and Caleb, you guys may not know this about Vega, but a Macon night.
Yeah. As we speak.
Yeah, as we speak right now on the 4-7. I did know that, but I honestly forgot when Garrison said that you're coming on. That did slip the memory. So good to know.
Shout out 478. I'm still here as well. It's a cool place to be. 404's fun and all, but we like to have less traffic, fry our chicken a little deeper down here.
All right, let's get into our picks for this weekend. Just to recap, last week it was a tough week for everybody. No one had a winning record. I was 1-4. Jake was 1-4. Caleb was 2-3. MZ, our guest picker, it was 2-3 as well. Update on the standings. Me, Caleb, and the guest pickers are 15-14. Jake is 12-17 overall. I'm 3-3 on locks. Jake is 3-3 on locks. Caleb 3-3 on locks. Guest pickers are 2-4. I'm 0-5 on deep shots. Jake is 2-3. Caleb's 1-4, and the guest pickers are 2-3. So got to get it picked up here as soon as possible. But let's go ahead and get into it and try to all have some positive weeks. Hopefully we're not going against each other too much here. So I'll start it off. My favorite this week is going to be none other than a team that we thought was dead for a while, but they definitely picked it up against your North Carolina Tar Heels last week, Caleb. The Clemson Tigers, they're playing Boston College this weekend. They're going to Boston College. Well, Boston College is a scrambling team. They don't have Castellanos. They haven't been the same since they benched them last year. They have just not been a good football team really since they beat Florida State back in Week 1 last year. In Clemson, I think they found that momentum. I think, I maybe don't want to look too much into them beating North Carolina after the things I've said about North Carolina, but I do think they're way better than Boston College. And I think this is a little bit of a trap line. They keep putting those Clemson games just like last week. It was kind of the same spread. They're kind of doing a 2-score and a hook for Clemson, seeing if you'll bite. I think Clemson keeps it rolling here. That's going to be my lock of the week. It's a little risky, but I got to get back on track. I haven't won a lock of the weeks here soon, but I like Clemson. I'm going to go with the favorite, Clemson minus 14.5.
So I kind of lied earlier in the podcast, and I did it before I even thought about it. But you asked me if I thought that Ohio State was going to be able to cover against Illinois, but you said if you don't have it in your picks, I absolutely have it in my picks. It's my lock of the freaking week, and I was just like, oh yeah, I think they do it. So yeah, I think Ohio State is going to be able to cover 14.5. I took this pick last week, and they were my one win. Ohio State was able to take care of business. So I mean, why turn my back on something good? The Ohio State's gonna be able to keep it rolling. I love them plus 14. I love them. If I like him at minus 14.5, I'd love him at plus 14.5. But we're going to have to take him at minus 14.5 at minus 110.
My favorite this week is going to be Texas Tech. They're taking on Kansas this week. I think Garrison threw out the stat that Texas Tech has beat everybody by over 2 possessions. That's what this line is this week at minus 14. That is not going to be my lock of the week. I actually planned for it. In fact, on my notes, it says it is. But we're saying Omaha at the line right now. We're going to switch it up. We're going to hold off on that. But I really feel good about this pick, but not as good as the other one that I'm going to get onto later.
All right, Caleb Vega, give us your favorite and your underdog.
Yeah, so my favorite, which is also my lock, is going to be Oregon minus 7.5. Really love them this week. Really love Dan Lanning. Obviously, my team has a little bit of some coaching issues going on right now. I would do disgusting things to have Dan Lanning as my head coach, and I think they cover easily Saturday. I think for Oregon, there's only a couple games this year that they really have to get up for. And this is one of them. Coming off a bye week, after going into Penn State, into the whiteout, I think the bye week came at a perfect time. It kind of, everybody told them how great they were. And they had this past week for Dan to kind of get them back in line. And I think they're going to come out. I think they Nah, I think they get it done.
Not to break your heart, but I don't think Dan Lanning's leaving Oregon to go to Chapel Hill. I don't.
One can dream. So my underdog, I actually hate to do this because I hate this team, but I'm going NC State plus 23.5. So this line has actually gone up some today in my favor. It was actually 21.5 earlier. And I looked again before I got on and I was like, you know what? I'll take those 2 extra points. So I followed NC State for a long time. And I know Dave Doran, he's going to have his guys ready to play. Every once in a while, they come up. I'm not saying they have a chance to win, but they are going to give them all they can handle. And I think watching Notre Dame the past couple weeks, they're trying to do too much. Obviously, we know they got to blow everybody out. You know, they got to win by 40 so they can, look better come college football playoff ranking time. They're just trying to do too much. They're not just trying to win a game. And I think NC State, they can move the ball on them. They're going to be able to move the ball on them. They average 30-something points a game. They're going to be able to keep it close. 41-24, something like that. I think they keep it inside.
Dude, I love those 2 picks. And I like C.J. Bailey, the quarterback for NC State. Like, do you say you follow NC State closely? Like, I feel like I follow Georgia Tech pretty closely.
Yep.
It's because it's right here.
Yeah.
Like, same thing. Like, I love Haynes King in Georgia Tech. Like, do you like C.J. Bailey as much as I like Haynes King?
I'm not rooting for C.J. Bailey, but I acknowledge that he has been really good for this.
All right. Okay, Caleb Spear.
My underdog this week is going to be Michigan. They're going out west to USC. They're plus 2.5 this week. I really trust the run game that Garrison talked about in terms of who's going to be able to contend with Ahmad Hardy for the best guy in the country. I think it's Justice Haynes as well. Really trust that on road games. I think it's huge. Anytime you're playing on the road, and I said it about Indiana going to Oregon as well, that they've got to be able to run the ball to be successful. Well, Michigan's going to. You could just go ahead and write it down. They're going to run the football. Their quarterback is getting really good as the season goes on in terms of his development. I mean, he's learning very quickly, and game experience matters. And I don't think the USC is necessarily ready for a brand of football that is smash mouth as Michigan has been over the last couple of years. I think that program's still built for that, and they're going to continue to do so.
Caleb, I hate to do it, but we gotta pick off right now. And now we are wondering which Caleb is he talking about right now? I got Indiana plus 7.5 this week. I think they're going to be able to keep it close. I like Coach Sig. I love Fernando Mendoza. They're at home. Bloomington, Indiana is going to be absolutely jumping for that game. And Coach Sig's going to have the boys ready.
It's in Champaign. No,
Champaign.
It's in Eugene.
Either one of them play in Champaign.
It's in Eugene.
Damn it!
Eugene.
I was going to say, I don't want to argue, but
we're not geography majors.
No, we're not. We're not. Regardless, listen.
Play the game on the moon. It does not matter. Oregon covers.
I'll say this about Autzen Stadium. I know it gets loud in all this. It's small. Let's see, Oregon capacity.
Yeah, it's like 65.
54,000. 54,000.
So it's the same capacity as Georgia Tech.
Basically. So I'm not going to put too much stock in that. It really, obviously, yeah, because now the memories are flooding back. Caleb talking about having to go to the West Coast and all this. I'm sticking with my guns. Give me Indiana plus 7.5.
All right.
Play this game in the Macon Centerplex. It doesn't
matter. Oh, man. All right. My underdog this week is going to be the same as Caleb Spears. I got Michigan plus 2.5. I said before season, just to go back to the preview, I said I thought Michigan was going to be able to go to Big Ten Championship because of their schedule. This is like the biggest test they got left until Ohio State. And I think they handle it. I really like what Bryce Underwood's been doing. Lately, just had over 270 yards passing last week, and he's won on the road. He's won at Nebraska. He's played at Oklahoma. He's got the experience, and so I really like Michigan there plus 2.5. For my over this week, Oklahoma, Texas over 42.5 is the number right now. We think John Mateer might be playing. That is a possibility. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Also, I think Texas has got to wake up. They've got to have some explosive plays in this game, and they've been tested pretty hard. I think when in college football, I think I've said this before on the show, like you test these college football players and you kind of get them, a little mentally, charged. Texas is looked at bad after everybody was telling them how good they are. I think they're going to come out alive. Oklahoma's got a good defense, but this is a big time game, big time rivalry. And also it's just a low number, 42.5 in college. I mean, that is for two SEC football teams, I think there's going to be some fireworks, especially if Mateer plays. Even if he doesn't, I think Texas could win this game and win this game big if they get going. And those double passes they missed last week, I like it. I like this over a lot.
There's no way that we miss, Garrison, because I'm riding with you, dude. Oklahoma, Texas over. I had it at 43.5, but I will definitely take 42.5 as well for all those reasons you said. Really hope John Mateer plays because that's only going to help. But even if he doesn't, like you said, that number is just too low. That is a laughably low number for Red River.
My over is going to another ranked game here between Alabama and Missouri, over 51.5. I know it's in Missouri this week, and we already talked about the things and the questions that Bama's got to answer, and same for Missouri. But I just see there's no way that Bama's going to keep Ahmad Hardy contained. I mean, I expect him to run for well over 150 yards. I'm sure Bo Papula will be able to spread the ball around enough to scrap 200-something yards together, and that's going to turn into offense. Bama's prone to penalties. We got to see if they survive that this week. It could end up being a pretty high-scoring game because I'll tell you this, Ty Simpson is going to throw the ball, and he's got three receivers that are probably, in my opinion, ones in most other places, so they're going to score points on that side of the ball too. So give me over 51.5 between Bama and Missouri.
All right, Vega, give us your over and your under.
But Caleb's riding together because I'm on Bama Mizzou over 51.5 as well. I just think, like Caleb already hit on 3 number 1 receivers. I don't think Missouri can cover those guys. I think Alabama gets to 24, 28 themselves, and I think it'll be really close. I think Missouri's right there with them. They're coming off a bye week as well. I love picking games, looking at team schedules, and I think Eli Drinkowitz, the guy's a dork, but he can scheme up some offense. And I know he's been sitting there for the past 2 weeks, scheming up some shots to take on this Alabama defense. Think it could be close, but like Alabama, maybe 31-28, something like that. I think we make it over. And then for my under, I'm going Arkansas, Tennessee under 68.5, which may be sweaty, but I was doing a little research earlier, asking my friend Google, checking out the stats on this. So I'm seeing 59% of games that have been 68.5 have gone under. The number's just too high. The number is just too high. Just out of principle, going under. I don't care if it's 35-31 Tennessee. If we want to compete with the SEC championship, we have to be better defensively. I think you're going to get a much better effort out of them. And Arkansas, we all know about the coaching change, new defensive staff. I think they're going to have a desperate effort. I think they at least keep it under that.
Yeah, I thought about taking that game as my over for a little bit, and then I was just like, I can't stomach 68 points. That's just so many points. I was big on I think my last week I did that Boise State Notre Dame game, and it was like 63.5, and that didn't go anywhere close. So I think I'm going to stay away from those. All right, Caleb Speeder, what's your under?
Well, I got 2 stats about that game. One, it opened at 69.5 and has dropped a point. So, the crowd's maybe thinking, the under is going to be the tail here as well. Stat number 2, two Calebs on the same podcast have the same 2 picks again. I'm going Arkansas, Tennessee under 68.5, and this is my lock of the week. Yeah, I told you at the beginning, this is not, any kind of telepathy going on here, but I told you guys at the start, I'm switching my lock to this one. Maybe it's destined to be.
Dude, Caleb, it's so funny because I talked about earlier what the records were and how me, Caleb, and the guest pickers are all at 15 and 14. The Calebs are making sure that everything stays intact here. Stays intact. Good strategy.
So a little known fact about me is before I was born, my dad kind of wanted to name me Caleb. That was one of the names that he went around, and that makes sense because I also have the under 68.5 in Arkansas at Tennessee. The number's too dang high. That is too dang high. I have like a principle that if the final score of a game is 42-21 and it's under, then take the damn under. That is way too many points. The Bobby Petrino bump. Arkansas is going to be here to play on Saturday. They're going to be playing for their boy Bobby, and they're going to be able to keep it tight.
No chance. I cannot disagree more. We took the same pick. Bobby had a bye week. He's got a bye week. Maybe he went and bought another motorcycle during the week. He had a couple of days off. Team practice didn't go on. We'll see what he really was up to. I think that's the reason why this game goes under. I don't think Arkansas is going to score 20 points. They were a run-the-football team before Sam Pittman left. What are they going to be after that? Because that's what Sam Pittman was paid to do. He's an O-line guy, run the ball. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep that success. It was a big shuffle in terms of staff. Like, he fired half the people in the building as soon as he got the job. They think they're going to play football well. I think Tennessee will score 40.
That's crazy. Remember who doesn't like Bobby Petrino? Keith Brooking. Keith Brooking does not like Shabby Petrino, recurring guest.
I thought about Arkansas and the points for my underdog, but I thought out of respect for
Thank you.
Okay, my under of the week. I've gone totally opposite of what you guys are doing. You guys went to like the highest number you could find. I think I found the lowest number, and I'm taking it. And we're going back to the roots here of what made one of the most spectacular runs in these picks history. Iowa, Wisconsin, under 35.5. I mean, come on. Have we watched these two teams play football this season? Because if you haven't, well, good for you. You haven't wasted a lot of time. But these are some awful, awful offenses, and I don't see that changing. I mean, Iowa, Wisconsin doesn't even sound like anything more than a 17-10 game at most. I don't see. That's all I need to say, dude. I don't see this happening. But Iowa has played against Indiana and Iowa State this year. Only two good teams they played. They scored 13 and 15 and lost both. And Wisconsin, I mean, you want to talk about what they've done against good teams. Remember what they did against Alabama. They scored 10 points, and the touchdown was against was on a special teams play, and they won against Miami of Ohio 17-0. They lost to Maryland 27-10, Michigan 24-10. So, which Michigan 24-10, if that's the final, that goes under as well. So that's where I'm going. And then my deep shot of the week to finish it off here, I'm going to go with South Carolina Gamecocks plus 280 in going into Death Valley. I think we've talked about, we don't know what LSU is. I'm not high on LSU. I wasn't high on them after that Florida game. And I think South Carolina, the revenge factor is huge right now. They wanted this game so bad last year. We talked about that already. And I think both teams coming off a bye week, the Gamecocks are going to be ready. They've got that brutal stretch. I think they started off hot. I'm going to go South Carolina plus 280. Need a deep shot to hit. Need one. I think this is it.
Happy Cocktober.
Yeah.
My deep shot. This is a deep shot. Plus 450. I'm be going with the Virginia Tech Hokies with the upset in Atlanta this week against Georgia Tech. It just happens every year. It happens every year that Georgia Tech starts hot. They find a way to drop a game that they're not supposed to. It almost happened against Wake Forest, but it didn't. I think Georgia Tech's a good squad, and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself right here. And, they're our first team out in the top 10 rankings, but I think Virginia Tech has talent. Kyron Jones is a good quarterback. I mean, he is. He's talented. I mean, Caleb, you can make those damn faces at me, but he is talented, and we know he is talented. Yeah, they fired their head coach, so maybe we get a bump there. We get another interim bump. And I think they'll at least be able to keep this thing tight. I think they'll at least be able to keep it tight. And you're looking at plus 450. Keep it tight in the fourth. That's all we can ask for.
He is pretty talented to turn the ball over. I will say that. My deep shot this week, we're going to be doing something that, you probably shouldn't do if you're just really thinking, common sense. You could be anybody on the street. You could be from the middle of Hawaii. You've never seen a football in your life. If you're betting on a team, you're probably not going to bet on something that sounds like something you may cook. And this week, we're going to change that up. We're going with Rice plus 360, taking on the UTSA Roadrunners. I have no analysis for this game. This is a complete vibes pick, okay? It just seems like the place to go. This is the biggest underdog, and it seems like Rice has already got a couple wins, probably more than anybody else would expect. They're 3-3. They're 500. Who would ever thought? 6 games halfway through the season, Rice is at 500. They're still in this thing, and they got to keep it rolling right here. So keep the cooker steaming for Rice this week.
Caleb, I kid you not, that was my second choice to the one I'm about to make. I don't know if you watched that offense, but that is a fun offense.
Dude, they run a wild offense.
Out of the shotgun.
It's like a spread option.
Yeah, it's tough to prepare for. But I'm going to get just a little more gross. I'm going to go down to the Sun Belt, plus 425, Marshall over Old Dominion.
Old Dominion, good.
Not a whole lot of analysis, but everybody's talking about Old Dominion. Everybody's hyping them up. No, they're going to go play for the Sun Belt Championship. Well, guess who they need to beat to get at the Sun Belt Championship? James Madison, who they play next week. A little look-ahead spot. Marshall coming off the bye week, first-year head coach, need a big win. Need to get the backing, need to get the supporters. You just need one big win to get year one rolling. So this could be it. Plus 425.
All right, that's a send your kids to. You should parlay all of ours. You definitely send your kids to college. Probably the nicest one you can afford. Let's talk about our NFL best bets before we get out of here. The Bengals. Oh, this is mine. I'm going to go first. The Bengals are plus 14.5 against the Packers this week. Obviously, Joe Flacco just got traded there yesterday. I mean, 14.5. It's a lot in the NFL, And the Bengals missing a quarterback will just feed it to Jamar and T. Higgins. T. Higgins kind of been being a little bit of a diva out there in Cincinnati. If you haven't been paying attention, he's not getting the ball as much as he wanted. Probably a different situation. He does have his quarterback, but I think plus 14.5 is just too many there. I think the Bengals, even if they get dominated, we saw them, they get dominated against the Lions. They'll crawl back late, get some garbage time points to cover this.
If there's anything that Joe Flacco is, he is a gunslinger. Down to the absolute core. He is going to be feeding Jamar Chase. I have Jamar Chase in my fraternity fantasy football league, and ever since Joe Burrow's gone down, it's been brutal. He had a good week this week, but when I saw the news, was it yesterday, that Joe Flacco got traded, it was great. It was just pure, unadulterated joy. Give me the Bengals plus 14.5. I think there's no reason they can't keep it between that.
My pick is going to be Tampa taking on the San Francisco 49ers this week. They're minus 2.5. I think Jake said that he was not going to bet on Tampa or root for them this week. I'm going against that. I think that offense continues to roll. Really feel confident about this pick because of the quarterback situation that San Francisco is having to deal with right now. We don't know who's healthy or what. God forbid they go to a third stringer. Understand that Christian McCaffrey is still the best running back production-wise in NFL right now. Production-wise,
Bijan Robinson on pace for 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving yards and over 10 touchdowns. Bijan.
Well, this is what I go off of for production. This is what, what are you doing for me? What are you doing in a fantasy league? Okay. Christian McCaffrey's number one in the fantasy leagues right now.
When I talk about production, I typically like to think about production, and that's what I judge production off of.
It's on that little camera that you guys have up above the stadium to watch it. We're not talking about that production when they put it out on their socials. All right, give me Tampa, Falcons fans.
These damn Falcons fans, man.
All right, Caleb, what you got? Give us two.
A little emotional hedge here, but I'm going Bills minus 4.5 Monday night. I mean, coming off a loss, just when you want to trust the Falcons and think, okay, we can play with anybody, they let you go. So just give me Bills minus 4.5. Then also, I believe this is Monday night too, but Bears plus 4.5 is the last I saw. Also a little revenge spot. Remember last year, this was that game where the Commanders won off that crazy Hail Mary. And so I think the Bears also coming off a bye week. I think they're motivated. I think they've been playing well too. They started off 0-2, but they're 2-2 now, and give me the points, 4.5.
My next two best bets on the NFL are going to just be betting against bad teams. I think if you're, in your average better, maybe not all the time, maybe you just talk about it. Sometimes you're about it. You're going to bet against bad teams. I'm betting against the Miami Dolphins this week. I'm taking the Chargers. They're minus 3.5. Don't care where they're traveling from or going to. They could play this game like the other Caleb said. You could play it on the moon. 3.5 points for Justin Herbert. Come on, man. That guy's playing NFL levels. I understand, they got a little injury issue going on in L.A. I think both of the tackles are down now and the running back. But I trust that head coach to keep his team with their eye on the prize more than the guy that has tags on his shoes as he walks off the field.
Yeah, so I also took the Chargers in this one. A little funny stat I saw, Najee Harris has never missed a game in his NFL career. And Amarian Hampton has never missed a single game at North Carolina, and we are 5 games into the season, and they're both on the IR. How about that? I mean, how about that? That is just that's just the LA Chargers. But yeah, I got the Chargers minus 3.5. I think Harbaugh, I think Herbo, I think Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen and all these guys. I think it'll be enough, and I think they'll be able to figure it out.
All right, to wrap it up, my last two here are going to be Travis Hunter. Anytime touchdown. He is tied with Brian Thomas for the most receptions on the Jags so far this season, but doesn't have a touchdown yet. I think they're going to find a way for him early in this game. Look at it. First quarter, second quarter touchdown.
Garrison, I absolutely love that pick. I love that pick so much. He is so due. And I think on Monday night, they obviously the long catch was super impressive, but he had another catch, just a little dump off in the flat route where he made 2 people miss and he got 10 yards.
Crazy.
Both those plays there, Cohen's going to start feeding him. He's going to start feeding him because he has proved to him that on a big-time stage he can make a play. So I love that pick. What are the odds? What'd you say?
Plus 240.
Man, I kind of wish I was a little juicier, but I do still like it. I do still like that a lot.
Yeah, and my last one is going to be the Browns Steelers under 38.5. Look, AFC North game, you can pretty much chalk it up there. Dylan Gabriel is playing against the Steelers defense. I'm sure it'll give him fits. I'm sure the Steelers will run the rock. even if they can't, the Browns have a good defense too. So that's the problem. So I'm going to be going with the Browns Steelers under 38.5.
For my last NFL best bet, I'm going to be going with the San Francisco 49ers plus 3 points is what I got it at. Caleb, what did you get the Bucks at?
Plus minus 2.5.
2.5. Okay, I'll take Niners plus 2.5 since you picked that first. I think Niners are playing good ball. I think I'm honestly for this pick, I'm kind of hoping that Mac Jones plays and then he retains that QB1 job. The Bucks are due for a letdown. They're due for a letdown, and it's going to come sooner rather than later. I hope so.
All right, so I'm betting on another bad team. Like I said earlier, I'm going against the New York Jets, and they're out in London for a game this weekend. The Broncos are going to be out there with them, and the Broncos just come off a really big win, have only lost 2 games by, 2 or 3 points every game. Really think that team's going to be able to go in there and handle business. Aaron Glenn can't handle coaching games in New York. It can handle coaching games anywhere in the United States so far. Maybe that changes in London. I don't believe it will. So I'm going to take Denver minus 6.5 this week against the Jets. Get to watch it early. Get to wake up, watch some football, tune in to watch this bet cash.
All right, Caleb Vega, finish us off.
Yeah, I'm going Thursday night. Eagles minus 6.5. Just coming off a loss. Think they're just a much better team. Malik Neighbors is out for the Giants. Love Scatabo, but can't do it on his own. Eagles minus 6.5.
All right. Great picks, boys. Great pod. That was electric. I'm really excited for this weekend. I mean, like I said, the college slate is awesome. We've just got big games everywhere. All the conference games are in full swing. Caleb Vega, before we get off here, before we sign off, what do you think about Bill Belichick? How much longer should he? Let's just get your general thoughts.
Yeah, so I knew this was coming. It's actually funny when you texted me yesterday. I just got done listening to, Monday's podcast. I just got done listening to you just absolutely rip my Bill Belichick-led Tar Heels, which is well-deserved. But actually, a little scoop for you guys. Reading our On3 site today, I do not know that he's going to be our head coach much longer. He may be let go before the end of the season. It's gotten very bad. I know the national media, obviously you hear all the stories about the girlfriend. I know. But inside the locker room, it may be even worse. There are reports about a fight at the halftime of the UCF game. There are reports of a fight in the locker room this past week after practice. There are reports of parents contacting the administration, complaining about how NIL deals are handled. There are NCAA allegations coming up, which I don't even know how you cheat anymore in college football, but apparently he's found a way to do it. So I think UNC is finding a way to get him out.
Did y'all see the Hulu documentary that was following UNC football? They pulled the plug on it. UNC did. They stopped giving them allowance.
Yeah, it's that they probably got a lot of footage of what's going on, of what Vega just said.
Love to see that.
Who would one last thing? Who do you think should be the next head coach in North Carolina football?
It's hard to say. I wish we would have done this last year, but I really wanted Matt Campbell or John Summerall. But I don't. If you're a coach like that, why would you want to come to UNC at this point? I mean, after seeing what they just did, why would you want to do that? And if you're John Summerall, you're probably going to get one of these SEC jobs. So, I mean, and we've got to compete with Virginia Tech in our own conference, which may or may not be a better job than us. So I don't know, but I wish whoever it is, I wish we would have done it last year.
Yeah, just wait. Basketball season's coming, dude. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You'll have something to root for there. All right. Well, thank you, Caleb Vega, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for listening. A reminder, we will have that merch out to you soon. Thank you for your patience. For Caleb, Jake, and the other Caleb, deep shout out.